Boom, what is going on? Welcome back, everybody, to my videos. And today I wanted to talk about two different things. One is a different life path I would have taken if I could rewind 3 years ago. And then the second thing is to change your identity, to change your beliefs, you need to also change your state. Because if you don't, nothing will happen. Nothing will change. Nothing will stick, right? And so we'll talk about both of those. So number one is, well, let me just tell you a story. So 2 or 3 years ago now, I bought a BMW with the help of my parents co-signing and the help of my dad. And I got rid of my car, which was a Lexus, and it was a 2016, a beautiful car. And I got rid of it because I just wanted to look cool to everybody and look cool to myself and feel cool. And I had no prior awareness to tell me, hey, maybe this is a bad idea, paying for this car that's way out of your price range that you cannot afford at all, and all these things. And now looking back at it, I'm like, oh, that was a very middle class or lower class move, is to buy something you can't afford that all it does is charge you on interest and lose value over time. It does nothing else. It doesn't get you a return other than looking cool or feeling fun or whatever. It probably attracts the wrong type of attention, and like just nothing really good comes from it other than fun. And fun's good, but delaying gratification and then achieving fun is actually much more fulfilling. It's actually more fun to put off the reward and then to actually work hard to achieve it. When we work hard to achieve something, as humans, we've evolved to feel fulfillment from it, from using our hard skills to gain that thing that we wanted. And not only that, but the pursuit of something is the fulfilling part, which you skip out on when you just jump ahead and buy something you can't afford before you've ever worked hard to ever be able to afford something like that, right? Now you have the prize, but you haven't worked hard. And so now you're kind of flipping around how you should be rewarded in your human brain, right? Now you're rewarding yourself before doing the hard work. So the hard work starts to become like, why would I even do that? I already have my thing. And so you have to now set bigger goals and build up more drive and more desire and more hunger because you took a shortcut, basically. A shortcut that ends up being the long route. So that's what I wanted to say, is that I bought this car with the help of my parents, with the help of my dad specifically, and I had no idea that it was a thing that, was a bad decision. I just thought, oh, this looks cool, this is fun, like this is what I want to do, right? This is what life's all about, having fun. And of course, I was completely wrong. So life is not about having fun. Life is about fulfillment. Life is about doing things that upgrade you, that give you meaning in your life, that give you purpose in your life. And the different life route I would have taken is to keep my car, which was much more affordable, paid it off completely, which was the Lexus. And then instead of getting the 2016 Beamer, I would have just had that 2016 Lexus. And the Beamer costing twice as much put me way out of my price range. I was never going to pay it off, still haven't. And I would have saved myself thousands of dollars, and I would have saved my parents thousands of dollars if we did not have this car. The insurance would have been lower, the car would have been paid off, and thousands of dollars would have been reinvested into me and into my business. And so the lesson that I've learned now, and there's no way to go back, right? So there's no point in sitting around like, oh, I'm so stupid, oh, we're so dumb, oh, all these regrets, right? There's no point in sitting in regret, and there's never a point in sitting in worry, right? Because before the thing happens, you shouldn't be worrying. If the thing happens, then you can deal with it when it comes. If the thing never happens, then you don't need to be worrying for no reason, right? That is the same thing with regret. Nothing will change just by you sitting there talking bad on yourself and regretting old past decisions. Nothing. All you can do is learn from them and then celebrate your learning from them and then pass down the learning to somebody else. That is what I'm doing with you guys right here. I've just learned from the mistake and I'm passing the knowledge on to somebody else. I'm telling you right now, don't buy fancy cars. Don't buy fancy things when you make your first money. Don't buy fancy things just because you can get a credit loan, a line of credit to afford them. You can't afford them. If you can't buy 2 of them or 10 of them, you can't afford it yet. So don't do it. And it won't do you any good, right? Putting off that gratification will actually serve you better because the reward becomes greater the longer we put off the reward itself. Like the longer we delay gratification, the greater a thing becomes. So even if you want, for example, like coffee today, if you just say, no coffee today, I'm going to have it tomorrow. And when I have it tomorrow, it's going to be 10 times better, not 2 times better, right? Or I'm going to have it in a week and it's going to be 100 times better. I'm going to have it in a month. It's going to be 1,000 times better because I delayed gratification. Alex Hormozi said the people that will become the most successful are the people who can work the longest without seeing any results of their work, knowing that long-term they'll get those results, those compounding returns. And that's what they want. That's what they're going to achieve and celebrate when they get it. So don't jump the gun. Don't take shortcuts in life because they're often the long routes. And if I could go back in time, I would have kept my car, paid it off, had low insurance compared to my new car that I have now, and then saved me thousands of dollars, my parents thousands of dollars, and then actually been able to reinvest in my business more, reinvest in conferences and seminars and business events and networking events and skills and courses and mentorships and friend groups and whatever. I can invest in more in travel and exploring and building myself up in having more peace of mind, less stress, right? What a wonderful asset that we often forget. Peace of mind, right? Being low stress and being, able to move and live freely because you have enough cash on hand to do so is a peace of mind that no one that lives above their means could ever imagine. So that is the first story. Don't buy a fancy car, pay off your cheap car, stick with the cheap car until you can reinvest those gains into yourself so you can become actually rich. Don't try to look rich, get rich. Don't try to look cool, get good, right? Don't try to look great, be great, do great things, work on yourself. And it'll feel much better when you actually, like if I reinvested in myself, built up a business, and then went and got my new car that I have now, I would have felt a lot better for it because I would have worked for it totally. I would have had no help from my parents. I would have built my business up. I would have more skills, be more valuable to myself, to others. What an amazing way to go. But people in the middle class and lower class believe that you're supposed to look cool, not get cool, right? Like look good, not get good. You're supposed to play status games. And this is not exclusive to like poverty and lower class, but it's very prominent. So that's story number one. And then story number two is that changing your beliefs. So changing the story you're telling yourself, assigning new meanings to things that are empowering instead of disempowering, right? Like if you were the victim to something, Tony Robbins says, how can you take the worst thing that has ever happened to you and make it the best thing that's ever happened to you? And you can do that because you can assign a new meaning to that event, because the meanings that we assign to events in our life make up our life. So if somebody victimized you, and then ever since then you've been saying, oh, I would go build a business, I would go start that new thing, start that new skill, build that new project, but that one person did that thing to me. My old boss did this to me. My old boss said this to me. My old teacher said this to me. My family, my friends, my sister did this to me when I was a little kid. And so now I can't. What you're doing is playing the victim. And we know that even if you are the victim, it doesn't benefit you to play the victim, right? Play the empowered person. Play the person that doesn't even bat an eye at that person anymore, who doesn't give their power away to that very thing that they hate. They say, my boss did this to me. And so I actually flipped it and said, I'm going to do that just because you said that. My sister did this to me. My uncle did this bad thing to me when I was a little kid. And so now I'm going to go win at the highest levels possible just to fucking spite him. Fuck him, right? Be empowered. Don't say my uncle did this thing to me and so I can never do anything in my life. I'm worthless. I'm useless. Don't say those things. Flip them around. The thing is, when you assign empowering meanings to everything, you take empowering meanings from everything, even boring events, shallow events that seemingly have no meaning, right? I can take massive meanings from simple things. And for example, like in the morning, if I wake up late, and then I get out of the house late, I can say, damn, I always am late to things. Or I can say, hey, waking up late really messes me up in the morning. Let me always make sure I go to sleep earlier than necessary so I wake up earlier than necessary so I can leave the house and be on time. The same event, the same simple random event can give me an empowering story, an empowering meaning, an empowering thing I can go use in my life. Or it can give me a disempowering thing that's, I'm always late to things, I fucking suck, I'm never going to make it in life or anything because I can't even show up on time, right? That's a completely useless meaning that will just disempower you and crush you from the literal same event. So, and that happens over and over and over, by the way. Like if you're in the living room with your family and there's 5 of you and then one thing happens in the living room, if you guys leave that event and come back and ask yourself, each of you a year later, what happened that day, all of you would have a different meaning, a different story for that event. So that makes up your life when you give meanings to things. So be intentional about the meanings you assign to things and make them empowering. And the thing about changing your identity, changing your beliefs, is they don't work unless you change your state too. Your mental, your emotional, your physical state, your actual emotional state that you feel inside your body. And to give you an example of that, when somebody's sitting like this and they're just bored, like in class or doing some work or whatever, and they keep saying, oh, I'm so tired or whatever. And then they always, like a lot of people do this, right? I'm not tired. I'm not tired. I keep saying I'm tired, so I'm going to stop saying it. So I'm not tired anymore, right? And they try to sit up and then 5 seconds later, they start slouching down again. They fall back asleep. Why is that? It's because your brain immediately knows you're completely bullshitting when you don't change your physiology, because it doesn't change your psychology and your emotional state. And what I mean by that is, if I say I'm tired and I just sit here like this and then I say, I'm not tired, and then 5 seconds later I start falling asleep, versus if I say, I'm not tired anymore, and I get up and I change my body, my physiology, right? The fastest way to change your psychology is to change your physiology. And if I get up and I jump around radically and shout and scream like I just won something big, you start to actually trick your mind, your body, your emotions to feel like you did win something, like you're not tired anymore, because it's way different. Like your body knows this is you when you're tired, right? Your body knows when you're jumping around and shouting and screaming, that is not you when you're tired. And so your brain actually says, you're right, you're not tired anymore. This isn't bullshit at all. He's serious. And you can do that with any set of beliefs. So when you give yourself a new belief, a new story, a new identity, change your state too. Jump around, use your body, change your voice, scream, breathe different, right? Because when you're tired, you breathe all slow. But when you're excited, you breathe fast, right? You're going crazy, you're running around, you're freaking doing a workout, whatever. Do anything, hit 50 push-ups. See if you get up sad. You won't. It just doesn't work like that. Your body gets tricked into believing that you're excited, that something's going on. And so you can change your state to get those beliefs in your body. Because if the beliefs, like the new thing you're saying, like, I do make money, I am effective. If you're, instead of, I'm broke, I'm poor, I'm always never going to make it, and I suck at everything. Instead of saying that and then switching over to the empowering beliefs, if you don't change your state at the same time, your brain will not accept it. It will reject it. It will not believe you. It will say bullshit and you'll stay the same. And so you got to change your beliefs and then change your state and then follow up that state change and your new beliefs with action. Action produces evidence or results, and those results reinforce your new identity. So if I start saying, I am someone who builds skills, I am someone who promotes myself, I am someone who sells online, go do that right now. After you jump around, you shout and you say, I am that person, I'm going to do those things. Go do those things to produce even some small, simple, stupid result, right? Never leave the scene of adopting a new belief or a new story without taking action to reinforce it, to build evidence for it. Never leave the scene without taking some action that commits you to that thing. Sign up for a course, sign up for a mentor, throw away your bong, throw away your cigarettes. If you're going to change your identity to someone who doesn't smoke, throw all that shit away right now. Even if you don't want to, it does not matter. If I waited to do everything in my life until I wanted to, I would never have fucking done anything. So even when you don't feel like doing something, if you know it's right and you know it moves you towards your goals, do it. You don't have to listen to your emotions. Your emotions don't control you unless you decide that that emotion is your meaning, your story. Even if you don't feel like going to the gym, you can literally get up and start walking into the fucking gym doors and start moving weights. And then you'll finish the session and you'll think, wow, that was really weird. My brain told me I didn't want to work out and that I couldn't work out, and then I just worked out and I'm fine. And so you'll be able to start stacking those and being able to override your emotions because they're not actually controlling you. And what Viktor Frankl says, and I don't have my vision board down here right now, but what Viktor Frankl says is in between stimulus, and this guy was in a army concentration camp in Auschwitz and had his whole family killed in front of him, like all this crazy stuff. So this guy is telling you that your emotions don't control you. Anyways, in between stimulus, so something happening to you, and response, there's a gap, and that gap is filled with emotion automatically. So emotion comes up when someone does something to you. Emotion rises, but you don't have to act on it. He says in that gap is your decision to change your life, right? In that gap is your decision to make, or to ask yourself a question. Am I going to act on this anger, or am I going to ignore this anger? Am I going to act on this happiness, or am I going to ignore it? Like, you don't have to always act on your emotions, but you can. You don't always have to listen to your emotions, but you can. And so always ask yourself, does this action, does this behavior, does this emotion move me towards my goals or away from my goals? And then that's your criteria. So base your actual decision on that. If it moves you towards your goals, you do it. If it moves you away from your goals, you ignore it. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.